I'll just wait for the link to come through then. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Probably need to make your voice a little bit louder. Seems a bit quiet even to me. But
Okay, I'll look into
don't know if there's
that.
something in the party settings, but
Adjust.
just got to adjust the volume.
It's up, for fuck's sake, right? I'll just have to
Talk
project the voice.
We'll see. We'll get some feedback hopefully. But I just need to get the stream link. I mean, Aaron's usually quite quiet. I think Josh is softly spoken and you can hear them, so we'll see. Let me just get.
I don't want the parents hearing the commentary.
Judged in your own house. Anyway,
Exactly.
I'll get, there we go. So, hello everyone, welcome to round 4. Well, sorry, round 2 of the Formula 4 season. Obviously, you know, it was an exciting. No one's watching. Let's start again. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 2 of the Formula 4 Championship. We're here in Brazil on Big C from F1, and alongside me, we've got Joel Manu. So, welcome, Joel. Thanks for joining me. So, Joel,
Hello,
what are you expecting from tonight? You know, we saw Aaron win in Australia. It was a wet race. You could have a wet weather here. So, you know, what are you expecting and what you're hoping for?
Yeah, I'm probably going to expect much the same. I think this is another mixed conditions circuit, and experience will prevail. And the likes of Aaron, Grumpy, Josh, Hulk, these drivers, they've got experience in abundance. And if the conditions stay dry, then maybe we could see a surprise. But who knows?
Certainly. So I think we'll look to get a couple of drivers in, see who we can get in for a quick interview before the race. So let's have a quick look. Who can we get in? I think. Let's have a look. Indeed. I'm just trying to find. I don't think I'm friends with Simo. Is he there? So yeah, I invited Simo and Hawkenberger. Hopefully they can join us so we can have a quick chat ahead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Obviously, the round 1 in Australia, it was a wet race, which we saw, you know, the three-time F1 champion Aaron taking the win. You know, Aaron back on the top step. It's taken a while, but yeah, he was back on top ahead of Josh. You know, the Sauber pit mechanic is getting ahead of Josh. So we've got a few comments and viewers already.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and Anthony Haig says, "Oh no, it's you and Joel." Thank you, Haig.
Well, Anthony, you know, it's not. You can't beat not nice on the Sabbath.
Indeed. So yeah, hello Stephen, hello Joe Tupar, and CC Brain says, "What an experienced commentary pairing."
Indeed, CC. I hope you enjoy.
So that's 7 viewers already, so that's a great start.
Oh.
But no one wants to go for an interview, which is fine.
No one wants to be unnerved by our experience.
Maybe they're just focusing on the race ahead.
As they should be.
Indeed. Exactly.
Yeah. And here we are, a man who will have lots of concentration this evening. Hulkenberger, welcome.
You alright?
Yep. Hello, Hawkenberger. So yeah, I don't know if Simo's joining or Aaron, but never mind. We'll just get on with you. So Hawk, you know, it was oh, there we go. The race winner from Australia, Aaron, has also joined. So yeah, we'll start with Hawk. I think. You know, Hawk, it was a tough start to the season. You know, only a 9th place, but yeah, there was a lot of contact on that one. You know, how do you look back on that race, and you know, has it affected your, you know, confidence going into this one?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I couldn't really do much about the start. Just something that happened on the first lap, but I was a bit frustrated. I wasn't particularly quick in the wet, and then I should have went on to super softs instead of ultra soft because they were quicker, and I also got myself a 5-second penalty. So overall, even though the start wasn't brilliant, I did mess things up myself. So I can't blame everything on Seymour.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, a completely different racetrack is Interlagos. You know, I think I saw a bit in practice. You look very competitive. So, you know, what is the aim today? Is it a podium? Is it the win, or is it, you know, a top 5?
I never like to set aims in terms of podiums or anything. I'll take some points. I mean, this point last season, I didn't score points in the first 2 or 3 races, so I'm already ahead of where I was last time, so you know, just points will do for me.
Lovely stuff. So yeah, Joel, on to Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron,
You're
are
right.
you looking for back-to-back wins? That's my first question.
I think back-to-back wins is always, very tricky on PSGL. So I'm definitely, probably not looking for the win here. But I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, then I'll try and claim it with both hands open and both legs open as well. So
Absolutely. And obviously, a new league. Have you settled in well?
yeah, I think a lot of the drivers in the league I've probably raced against in some shape or form over the years I've been racing on PSGL. So yeah, I mean, good to tussle with, good drivers. What more can you hope for?
Most definitely. And finally, a more general question. The constructors, you and Mr. Grumpy, what's the aims? Will you be focusing on Hulkenberger and Game Freaker, or is it too early to focus on any championship yet?
I think it's too early, but when you've got the experience that myself and Mr. Grumpy have, then you've got to definitely pen our names in as probably one of the more favourites to win the constructors. So we'll definitely be working together through the races, but I'm sure the tune may change a few races in. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We've got a few minutes till qualifying, so we'll let you go and prepare. Get ready. So thanks to Hulkenberg and Aaron for their time.
You?
Good luck in commentary.
Thank you very much. So there we have it. The views of the current championship leader, of course, Hulkenberger, the admin. So yeah, we know Brazil obviously a very short track, so hopefully we can get lots of good racing. I'd rather see a dry race, the DRS, and hopefully see some
interesting strategy calls as well. I think in the dry, tyre wear can seem to be on the limit here. So are we going to see some people doing something different? Are we going to see some blunders, some late lap punctures? I think it's an excellent race, season in, season out.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And obviously, the reserve driver, Dougie Dude, will be here. He took pole in Australia. He's learning no assists. I think if it's dry, he'll be one to watch, but the wet, I know from personal experience, no assists in the wet is very tricky.
A different breed.
Indeed. So, a few minutes ago, I think we were just waiting. I think it was Sab, but we've got 19 drivers, so a good grid, a good size.
And CC Brain says my bets are on Josh today.
Yeah, Josh is certainly, maybe in terms of raw speed and talent, he's arguably the best in recent seasons. Look at what he did in F1. He got a couple of podiums, but Aaron obviously, his track record and just his ability to get the job done. He might not have the pace anymore, but he just gets it done.
Exactly. As one thing Josh has already done season in, season out is get it done. But maybe last season and maybe this previous season, but up to that, he was a man you could rely on definitely every week, that he'd be there or thereabouts, regardless of how much practice he'd done.
Certainly. So in terms of the Drivers' Championship, obviously it was Aaron, Josh and then Game Freaker with a P3, with Blue Mosquito 4th, with Warren Haig in P5. Grumpy came over in P6 with Betrayer, Clyde, Hulkenberger and Gizmo in the top 10. But obviously, we've got some big names yet to score, like some Tej, obviously the founder, and used to be the boss man of PSGL. Tej, we have a lot of respect for him and what he's done for the site. Isn't that right, Joel?
Yeah, most definitely. I remember being messaged back in the early days, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm not sure how long been on the site. I think 3 or 4. Getting PMs from the likes of Tej and Betrayer, and really promoting the league. The likes of F3 are now known as F1. They really try and get you involved, and it's good to see that they're still around. Maybe not in such a superior role, but definitely enjoying the product that they helped to create.
Yeah, couldn't say that better myself. So yeah, 2 minutes into qualifying. Qualifying, especially on this game, slipstream isn't as big of a factor anymore. Strategy, there's no safety cars. Qualifying is so important. Maybe not in recent years, but certainly, traditionally, for as long as I've raced, qualifying has been one of your strengths, especially that last lap in quali. What makes a good qualifier? Like, how do you go about it?
I think the first run is very important. I think getting your banker lap in is crucial, because it gives you that just a little bit of taste of what the track is like, because each session to session there's small differences, may it be light, may it be temperature, and whether these things have an actual physical effect on time is probably yet to be seen. But I think mentally, especially if you're comfortable, you can go into the final lap as you cross that line and just try and nail every single apex, and if you can do that, you'll be rewarded.
Yep, and looks like we're about to get into qualifying. So yes, 19 drivers today, so it should be hopefully an exciting race, and hopefully we can cover it in a good manner. So yeah, rain obviously very likely.
For the millions in attendance as well, got to put on a good show.
Definitely. So yeah, obviously the super soft, and medium tyres. Super soft's lasting about 12 laps, with the mediums, what was that, about 20 laps. They can't quite get the end from what I've heard, but you know, I think the likes of Haig, renowned for his strategy choices, might just go for that one stop if it is indeed a dry race.
A lot of people just shoving the differential down to 50 and crossing their fingers and seeing how far they can get. But, you know, we'll see what works out the best. I'm excited.
Certainly. So everyone was choosing their tyre selection choices. Maybe they've gone to the toilet, hence the delay. But we're finally getting underway. 8:15.
Will this have an effect on you as a driver, Big C? A delayed start?
Not well. It's not ideal. You get a bit annoyed, but I don't think it affects you too much. You get in the zone, but it's never ideal. But it's always good to have more drivers than less. You know, the delay's it's not big. It's a Sunday as well, so people have been looking forward to all weekend, I'm sure.
Definitely. Here we go. Like to find out the weather. Will the beast from the east return here in Sao Paulo, or will it be the British summertime weather we have been so used to?
Oh, monsoon conditions at Interlagos. Look at that heavy rain.
They screamed.
So yeah, it will be full wets for everyone. Oh, the challenge of the wet conditions. Like, I mean, Joel, would you fuel the car up for several laps or go for a couple of short runs?
Absolutely. I would fuel the car with unlimited diesel from the BP, and I would go as long as I can until I need to go for one final burst.
So yeah, who will be the first to take to the circuit? I think people are making some setup changes. I've been informed on the forecast it will be a dry race, so that will be interesting. I think it will be a lot of one-stoppers in the dry race. But is that a McLaren first out? Who is that? I'm not too familiar with the cars of everyone, so who's in the McLaren? And here's Aaron's out on the full wets, so a lot of cars taking to the circuit already. You know, treacherous conditions. There'll be some aquaplaning going on. It'll be impossible to get the power. Even out the pits, they're squirming, the rear tyres.
No one wasting any time. Everyone might see some racing right there.
In quality.
Indeed. So yeah, lots of cars out. I'm not sure who we're going to keep an eye on, but Josh is still in the garage making setup changes. But the likes of LFC for Life is out there, Miles, Aaron and Clyde. So only 4 cars out there at the moment. Now people taking their time.
A lot of people making changes, you know, maybe adding a bit more wing, trying to take into account certain things. Maybe ballast comes into account at this point in time. But some people, they're just testing the first one that loads and goes and out. And there's a Haas off. Who's a Haas? Miles struggling in the early laps, but recovered the car well, no damage to be seen, and needs to just refocus before he starts his flying lap.
Yeah, so Miles struggling, but yeah, these conditions are so tough, especially when you don't really tend to practice the wet weather, only the dry conditions. So the track getting busier with quality to remain as full wet. It'll be interesting to see how everyone gets on, but who will be the first to set their lap time? I think Aaron's going to be setting the first set lap. He's got 5 laps of fuel. Obviously, everyone on the full wet tyres, heavy rain conditions. So what can the the championship leader do in the Sauber? He loves this Sauber. And obviously, Joel, you were alongside Aaron in F1 for a few seasons. You know, how good is this man in these conditions?
One of the best mentors you can ever wish for. He has the same sort of feel around him as like a Sir Alex Ferguson. He will give you the hairdryer treatment if need be, but he will also give you the opportunity to succeed.
And Mr. P's out. Mr. P! What has Mr. P been up to? And he's out. He's aquaplaned off. He's racing backwards on the pit straight. So Mr. P, Dorman Palmer. He's been around for many years. Car number 29 in the Mercedes-Benz is out of qualifying. Game Freaker has also lost connection, so I don't know what happened to Game Freaker. He did lose connection a couple of times last season F1, but all right and more with Iran moving down to standard in the middle sectors. Game Freaker is back, so that's good news. Game Freaker is back in the session. What a shocking mistake from Mr. P there, Joel.
Definitely. You know, one of the rules you get taught in nursery of F1 is to take the outlap easy, especially in these conditions. But Mr. P avoiding all that knowledge, and just, you know, it can be easily done, so it's very unfortunate for him, and he will have to learn quickly in the race.
So LFC Clyde takes pole position with a 21.5 the first set lap, but what can Iran do in the Sauber? Will it be LFC? He doesn't at 22.1. But he did encounter a bit of traffic towards the end of the lap as Clyde's on pole position. A great lap from Clyde in the McLaren Honda, but he's got 8 laps of fuel. So he's, you know, going for a long lap. Look at that, Warren Haig. Warren Haig sets the fastest lap. There's a Williams off as well. So it's all happening early on in Brazil.
Everyone won't be happy because Boy with no face seems to be struggling ahead on his first run. And this is not what anyone wants to learn the track when you've got a bright red front. And Aaron's got, oh, he's nearly bent it. He's nearly done a Mr. P.
I was on board with Haig, but yeah, Aaron in the Sauber is off, aquaplaning off these tough conditions. Experience of drivers, the biggest of names. Aaron down to P7, but Mr. Grumpy at 20.7. You know, look at that. The top 3, experience, experience, and experience. It's just full of it in the top 3.
Grumpy looks to be. That just shows he's got the confidence. He's done the hard work in the off season to learn these conditions, and he just looks. He looks like the cars on tree tracks. He's just gliding around this tricky section.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what his set time's like. But yeah, a lot of guys putting several laps of fuel in just to get used to the conditions as Game Freak rejoins. You know, he's one of the title favourites, and if he can't partake in qualifying, he's going to be down in P17 as it stands. There's been changes as his boy with no face is up to P2 in the Ferrari. But Mr. Grumpy is 0.2 of a second up and is about to extend his advantage over the rest of the field.
Let's see who else is out there. What's Hulkenberger going to do? Coming up to the line here. Doesn't look that great. But what is it going to be? It'll put him 7th. Not bad for a first run, not bad at all.
But Mr. Grumpy improves by a 1/10 of a second to improve to a 20.6. So Mr. Grumpy, you know, the multiple-time champion in PSGL. Blue Mosquito, the reigning champion, the former F1 champion as well, is now on pole. So yeah, time's coming down as you'd expect in these conditions.
Dougie Dude looking to be struggling out there, as you mentioned before, the no assist in the wet conditions. Understandable, but definitely having an effect here as he encountering some traffic in the face of his teammate. Miles not giving his teammate the best of laps. This is if I was Gunther Steiner, I would be saying all forms of his local tongue right now, but will Miles get out of the way?
Oh, Dougie with a bit of oversteer, but I think if Miles is on a PB, he doesn't have to move.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You know, if he wants to finish this lap, he has every right, but his teammate will not be. Big kick from Dougie Dude there.
Aaron's on a PB. Aaron is 5 seconds up, so he's down in P14 in a minute. A shocker for the 3-time F1 champion. But what can he do in the Sauber? A car, he's had something to say. Miles! What can Aaron do to the line? Aaron P3 with a 30.79. So I've got Miles. He looks a mess at the minute, doesn't he?
He is. I've seen some things, but that was one of the worst I've seen.
Certainly, but Josh wrenching the car through the middle sector, improving on his personal best lap. He's currently in P4 on a 20.8. Currently 6 tenths off Mr. Grumpy. He's 3 tenths clear of the rest of the field at the moment.
Yeah, Grumpy's not up in his first sector. Maybe it's time for the new set. And look at the time already. In nearly 4 minutes, drivers going to have to get in and prepare for their final runs. Get the most out of these conditions.
So Grumpy's not Grumpy, sorry. Boy with no face is a 1/10 of a second up on his best time, but will he choose to pit for a new set of wet tyres? I think I would. If he's only up by that small margin, I'll probably pit for fresh tyres. But will he? No, he stays out.
4 tenths up. Where's Dave Javu going to go? Into the top 10 maybe?
Oh, P5. I mean, Deja Vu, I don't know too much about Deja Vu, but Dave Javu, So yeah, a 20.8. It's a decent lap. You know, it's in the mix with the likes of Iran and Boy with No Face. So a strong lap from Dave Javu there.
Excellent to see. This is the stage. Brazil in wet conditions. It's the stage any new driver or less experienced driver wants, because he can put his stamp out there to the world, to the F4, to the PSGL community, and say, "I'm here to party. Take note of my name."
Yeah, so Josh was 0.2 of a second up in Sector 1, so I know I was on board with him before, but I think we need to ride on board and can see if he's going to take pole position. This will be his final time lap, unless he decides to pit. So, you know, it's a tough call. You know, if he's up by 2, 3, 4 tenths, then he has to complete it, but if he's only by a tenth, he's got to pit. So Iran and Blue Mosquito are in the pits for fresh, but Tegg is on that up yet to set a lap, and Game Freak is finally controlling his cars. As Josh has a big bit of oversteer, and he's lost it. Josh has lost it in the final corner. Big problems. He does indeed. As Miles is out. I can't say that's a surprise. Unfortunately, Miles. Oh,
no.
the Hassan, Dougie Dude. He's taken his teammate out.
We seen a glimpse of this earlier, and it came to fruition.
Poor Dougie Dude. Down in P14. One of the fastest drivers in the dry conditions. It's out of qualifying. Disaster, but I think we'll go on board with Tegg, the former director, sliding and squirming in the Toro Rosso Renault with Honda power on F1 2018 as I accidentally click the wrong button. But Tegg, let's give him the moment, a bit of airtime from Tegg. You know, he decided to come out right at the end. Maybe conditions have improved, but Tegg, the former director, and of course, you know, a man of so much experience. I'm probably
looks tidy enough in there.
Yeah, his first sector was a bit ragged, you know, a bit loose at the rear end is Tegg, but you know he'll be eyeing a few positions.
Have you noticed P7 and the currently fitted tyres? A man we've seen do this umpteen times.
Yes, he's gone for inters. What a call from Warren Haig, renowned for his bold choices. But will it pay off? That's the question. It still looks very heavy, but you never know with Codemasters
I would say it's still monsoon conditions, basically. I would say this is a blunder, but Dave Javu follows suit.
Bold calls. What will the likes of Iran and Josh go for? Iran's out on wet. Excuse me.
Grumpy spend it. Grumpy spend it. It's all over for Grumps.
So take his first lap, puts in P17. So Augusta Saita for Tegg. He's got time for a couple more laps there, and we'll see how Haig's looking on those inters. He's taking his time. He wants to be the last man to cross the line to get the best of the conditions. Warren Haig.
I don't think that's what he's doing at all, because I think he's struggling horrendously.
As Deja Vu's out there very late on intermediates, maybe too late. As Betrayer. Oh, we've not talked about Betrayer thus far, but Betrayer's up to P4. What a lap from Jim Betrayer.
I think this must mean that this is a Codemaster special. Conditions must be mighty quick now, so it's going to be a battle of who can get the lap in.
Certainly, so I mean it's going to be impossible to call, but Betrayer putting it in P4, you know, a lot of pressure on all these drivers now. With a dry race, so it's crucial to get this track position. As good evening to Gaming Anyone as well. So yeah, I mean, who do we stay on board with?
I mean, I'm looking and there's action everywhere, but we've got the likes of Betrayer, who's out there again. Doesn't look to be improving, but Aaron's just started a lap, so we'll stay on board with his first sector to see how far he's up. A bit messy through there, but what's it going to say? Well, it doesn't say.
No, it doesn't. So I just missed that. So we'll keep out an eye on Aaron, but I think Betrayer, we could keep an eye on Betrayer. What's Betrayer? Betrayer is a tenth of a second up. So Betrayer will be looking for a front row start at this rate. You know, the checkered flag is now out in Brazil. What can Jim Betrayer do in the Toro? So there's so many drivers looking for, but Deja Vu did make the line on the intermediate tyres. What can Betrayer do? His final lap of the session. Can he take provisional pole position in the Toro? So I don't think he will. And he doesn't. He doesn't improve. So a bad end to the lap from Betrayer. So any more times be set.
Turn to BWA Clyde, who's 4 tenths up.
Okay.
And we're coming out of the final corner now.
Okay. So what can Clyde do? In the McLaren Honda. Indeed. So what can Clyde do to the line in the McLaren Honda on the full wet tyres? BW Clyde. Oh, P3. What a lap. Brilliant lap. Aaron.
What can he do?
He's not had a pole position since F1 2013, Season 7 F1. Aaron F1 to the line. Can he take one position? P2. He just misses out. So who else is out there? Boy with no face has got traffic. He's got Taking Raver's Revenge ahead. So Boy with no face is the big name to watch out of the top 6 drivers, Boy with No Face is the one who can interrupt the top guys. What can Boy with No Face do? Tej might give him a bit of a tow, but overstay out the final product. Why has he got so much fuel in as well? So Joel, can Boy with No Face take pole?
Backs off.
Backs off. Yeah. Anyone else out there? And I think that's that. Tej drove 16th, so a few positions for Tej there.
Gizmo, I think he improved. Oh no, he didn't. P13 must have been validated. Well, what a qualifying.
Yep, certainly. So a quick rundown. All the results. Mr. Look, a sour front row lockout with Grumpy taking pole position ahead of Iran. Blue Mosquito is P3 with BWA Clyde in P4. Betrayer, Josh and Deja Vu complete the top 7. Haig improved to P8 on the intermediate, and he says he set a purple last sector, so conditions were improving. With Ray was Revenge and FC made the top 10. Hulkenberger with a disappointing 11th ahead of Gazzaman. Gizmo, Game Freaker, Dougie Doo, Tej, Miles Gordo, and Mr. P with that mighty crash early on, aquaplaning in the stormy, heavy rain conditions. So Joel, you know, I think it's all to play for in the race. I think we won't be seeing those super softs, but I mean, who's your tip for the win? Who you think's in the best position?
I think it will be a bit of Sauber team magic here, a bit of Bottas, Hamilton. I think Grumpy will get the first bite of the win, and then if that doesn't go to plan, Aaron won't be scared to send it down the inside. Guarantee he won't.
So no, it's all to play for. Obviously, I think we'll be seeing mediums to softs or softs to mediums. You know, an easy one-stop strategy if it's a full dry race.
But we have seen in previous races like FP, drivers putting on super softs and nearly pulling a full pit stop on other drivers due to the sheer speed difference. But I don't think drivers will risk it. Maybe some further down the line, but in terms of the top 5, it'll be a conservative one-stop for sure.
I agree. So we've got 10 seconds to the start of round 2 of the final season F1 2017 at the legendary Interlagos circuit. Mr. Grumpy, the most experienced driver ever in PSGL, starts from pole position for Sauber in a front row lockout, and we have 5 lights are here in Brazil, and away we go. So it's a Sauber 1-2 as the lights are out. What can they do? And Aaron gets a great start. Can he make a move up the inside? He does. Is that Aaron and it's going to be side by side?
Aaron's going to try and get the run.
So yeah, Grumpy leads, Aaron second, Blue Mosquito third, Clyde, Betrayer, and Josh is the yellow flags further behind, but I'm going to keep it on board with the Saubers.
Aaron's going to make a move. Aaron's going to make a move.
He is on soft tyres, Grumpy on mediums. Side by side action between the Saubers.
Aaron gets it done.
He does. Aaron leads the Brazilian Grand Prix. Oh, is that the reigning champion? Blue Mosquito up to P3, so let's have a look at the tyres. Softs, mediums for the top 2, then soft for Blue Mosquito and soft for Betrayer. But super soft for Clyde. Deja Vu is up to P5 with a ballsy overtake down the inside. So it's all going on the opening lap. Lots of movement and lots of different tyre selections.
Who's the big movers early on? Miles up 3. Deja Vu up 2. Wait, someone spun. BWA Clyde storming down the order.
Yeah, so a shocker from Clyde. Disaster. And LFC's life's out of the Grand Prix. What's happened there?
Debris everywhere. Just Dave. Huge carnage here at the end of lap 1.
I've completely, I don't know, I've completely missed that. But what's that huge carnage? And Warren Haig is out of the race, so we missed that unfortunately. There's a side-by-side action as Blue Mosquito is up to P2 with Mr. Grumpy in P3 as what an idiot, says Warren Haig. It's a disaster for Haig, but I had no idea what was happening.
So I've just seen debris flying, I see no incident, just the carnage that was post.
So a shocker. But look at Tej. Tej has gained 4 positions up to 12. Miles up 6. Dougie Doo up 5. Game Freaker up 5. Hulkenberger up 3. But look at that. Clyde and Warren Haig. Shocking starts. But I mean, there was carnage at the start. It was impossible to keep an eye on all of it.
Exactly. And Grumpy has lost 2 off the start, but he is on those mediums, so he is just going to have to stick with the top 2 and hope that he can stay within a gap to pull it back at the end.
Yeah, so got some quotes out of the pen. Warren Haig says, I'm on his right, and he just kept moving over and run me off. I don't know if you caught all of it, Joel, or just the end. Did you see it?
No, I just seen the end. I seen the front wings in the air, and that was it.
So I think we need to look further down. What's Miles? Miles is looking. Dougie Dude or Game Freak up right behind his teammate Hulkenberger. As Blue Mosquito says the fastest up of the race. I think we might be seeing some team orders down at Renault. Whoa, Game Freak up, make the move.
last of the late breakers into third gear, spreading him wide, give him space in the exit. There we go, clean teammate move there.
Yep, so Game Freak up to 8th already, so a great start from Game Freak, but Blue Mosquito is pressuring Iran already. Only 6 tenths is the gap on lap 3 of 36.
We are seeing a bit of a grumpy train form here. Betrayer all
Oh,
over.
Gordo's gone. Gordo's gone. There was problems for Gordo. I'm not sure what happened there, but I just saw a car sideways. We're moving on to Tega's car.
There's a problem there.
Yeah, and some more quotes from the pen. LFC Live takes full blame for the responsibility and has apologised to Haig. So that's good to see. Yeah, certainly. But yeah, Betrayer catching up to Mr. Grumpy, two of the most experienced drivers around in PSGL, been here for many years. But Mr. Grumpy on those mediums will be, struggling certainly for the first 10 laps relative to the soft runners.
A man licking his lips will be Josh Roberts, boy with no face on the mediums, hanging with this front pack, and that's all he needs to do, because he's going to have to
Gordo's out, and Mr. P's out. That's more problems.
Mr. P in a simple.
Mr. P! Oh, no. Oh. Sorry. Mr. P and Gordo are out of the race. Big problems here in Brazil as Betrayer is up to P3. Jim Betrayer is battling side by side with Grumpy.
Grumpy stayed ahead there. Betrayer looking again up the surely not. Grumpy closes the door as I would recommend.
Yeah, so beautiful defensive driving from Grumpy, but I mean, Iran and Blue Mosquito will be delighted with what's going on at the moment. Beautiful defending from Mr. Grumpy. We saw in FB a lot. Mr. Grumpy knows how to defend the car. And Hulkenberger and Raver's Revenge are battling for position. Hulkenberger down the inside. Right, with the hand up in the air, but an aggressive move from the man who supports Sunderland. Side-by-side action. And Matthew makes the move on Raver's Revenge. A beautiful manoeuvre as Gizmo pits. Gizmo is in. So on board with Jim Betrayer, DRS wide open on the run down into turn 1 as we come on to the following lap 5 of 36. Betrayer around the outside of Mr. Grumpy, brakes late, doesn't lock up, can he make the move into the centre S? And he does. Mr. Betrayer with a sensational move on Mr. Grumpy, who will get a better run out the corner and uses DRS. Betrayer surely has to push him wide, but gives him enough room. And can Mr. Grumpy make the move down the inside? Mr. Grumpy, and Betrayer gets the move done just about. So
this is just all playing into Josh Roberts' hands.
Yeah, it is indeed. But I mean, when you're behind these slow cars, it's easy to pick up some damage. So Josh is just got to use his experience and use all the knowledge he's got in that bright brain of his. But yeah, I mean, the top two are pulling away. But I mean, the battle for third is beautiful as Deja Vu makes a move on Mr. Grumpy. A bit of contact. So yeah, but this is going to help Betrayer. Betrayer's going to get away with this, right?
Front two, still nip and tuck between Iran and Blue Mosquito, and I suspect this will continue throughout the race distance. Certainly.
So got a good battle between those two guys, but I mean, the battle for the final podium place, Betrayer, Grumpy, Deja Vu, Josh, Game Freaker is not too far behind either.
Hulkenberger probably disappointed, but once again he is on that medium, so if he can stay out of trouble, who knows what could come to him. Some good fortune at the end, maybe. Yeah, so Mr. Grumpy, struggling for traction, struggling for grip through the centre S's, and Deja Vu, he's looking feisty so far this phase. He's got the DRS wide open. So does Grumpy.
Oh, Gazzaman's out! As Deja Vu takes it, Deja Vu's just pushed him off. No, he hasn't.
Boy with no face, boy with no face. Oh! Textbook from Josh Roberts on the mediums, but he'll be under pressure now big time from an angry Deja Vu who didn't make the move stick, so he'll be aggressive no doubt in the next few laps to try and make that time back. So yeah, it looks like Gazzaman just lost it at the centre. I don't know if there was a bit of contact, but we've lost several drivers so far. It's been lots of carnage so far this race. There's Simo down in P15 since the last lap. But look at Game Freaker. Game Freaker's recovered from his disappointing qualifying, his misfortune, and is up to P7. Keeping his nose clean, which is what you need. People need to remember it's only round 2, and for Game Freaker, it's a long season ahead. And he's definitely very much still a title contender, even though he's round 7. Yep, Josh's got the DRS wide open on Mr. Grumpy, and the straight line speed of that Ferrari is just insane. So Josh up to P4, an easy move for boy with no face. And also, the more laps go by, the more time comes to Josh.
Yeah, so I won't rule Josh out of challenging for the win of this race just yet. He certainly looks to have got the race pace to challenge.
Let's see, Game Freak down the inside, Deja Vu, move done, textbook, lovely.
Yeah, so, you know, the big hitters, the former F1 drivers like of Aaron, Josh and Game Freaker, showing their, you know, quality so far in the opening laps as Raver Revenge becomes the first man to pick up a time penalty.
And as I said previous, 8/10 still the gap, it's not budged. Identical lap times, identical sector times from the top two.
Yeah, so an impressive turn of pace from the top two so far. Betrayers maintaining the gap around 3.6, 3.5 seconds. So a disappointment. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, Betrayer 3.6 behind with Josh only 1.2 behind on the medium. So yeah, not so too bad for Josh so far. He's only 6 seconds off the lead. So
I'll stay on board with Grumpy here because he could set himself up nicely to the second straight. If he can get close enough through the braking zone here, maybe we could see a move, but Josh seems to, yeah, he's kept himself together. A little bit wobbly in the exit. Is Grumpy going to get, I don't know, maybe a bit too. Holgenberger, 3-second penalty.
yeah, so yeah, I think Sector 1's easy to pick up penalties, but in terms of on-track battles, it looks to be Josh and Grumpy and Game Freak and Deja Vu, the top two, the closest sort of battles so far.
Yeah. Raver's Revenge showing some good pace there down there, but is that fresh tyres?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have a look. Yep, fresh.
Yeah, those two on fresh rubber. But yeah, Aaron now 1 second clear. He's broke the DRS, so that's good news. As Betrayer's now down to 4 seconds behind. So yeah, but Aaron starting to, you know, extend that gap slowly as the stint progresses. Yeah, Mr. Grumpy is staying with Josh. Obviously both on the medium tyres, and obviously Josh is now in DRS range of Betrayer. So, you know, the medium slowly will surely become the better tyre as the stint progresses.
The trail will come bigger and bigger in sight as time goes on, but you know, one thing is catching him, but another thing is getting past.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Slipstream isn't so powerful in this game, but thankfully no one's left the lobby so far. Obviously, with the new rules PSGL introduced at the start of the season, you get 10-second time penalty if you do leave the first person to leave the lobby. So a big respect to everyone who's still in the lobby. As Betrayer picks up a penalty, we saw him a little bit wide there. You know, a tricky pot with that, the centre resters. Certainly. So yeah, Josh in DRS range is just closing and closing. 1 lap of fuel for Josh, 1.5 for Betrayer.
Betrayer looks unnerved by that penalty, but it's a bad time to get unnerved, especially if you're Josh Roberts, because you're going to lose heaps of time in this sector.
Certainly. So Josh, you know, who's just trying to close the gap as much as possible, and it's all about that run out of the final corner if you are going to make a pass down into turn 1. But yeah, Josh certainly looks very fast at the moment, and if he can get past Betrayer, then he can start to close the likes of Aaron and Blue, who will be starting to struggle on their soft tyres, and obviously will be pitting for mediums, or Josh will be on the softs at the end.
Definitely. Let's see, Blue Mosquito still 8/10, matching each other lap for lap.
Yeah, so an impressive turn of pace from the reigning F4 champion Blue Mosquito, but can Josh?
He must be on wings.
Yeah, he looks. He did say he was going to run low wings, so it'd be interesting to see. You know, can he line Betrayer up into turn 3?
Josh Roberts, brilliant. What positioning of the car through turn 1 there, and this will be easy with that straight line speed. Betrayer might not even bother defending it.
A beautiful run out the corner from Josh, and he moves down the inside as Gazaman's left. Gazaman has left up Betrayer. I think he was backed out of that there. They look to be side by side, but Betrayer backs out. I think the wise thing to do, Josh looks to be, you know, man on form at the moment. You know, the medium tyres coming into play.
Definitely. However, 5.1, 5.2 seconds to the leader Josh has. Is that enough to claw back at the end?
Oh, well, I mean, I think he needs to start getting that gap down now, and he is. Like, it's down to 4.2, so I think this is an important stage of the race. Josh needs to close that gap, and he will be on soft tyres. So yeah, to win this race, he will have to overtake them on track.
Grumpy needs past Betrayer this lap, definitely, but not the best exit here. But will we see, similar to Josh, a big pull at the end with the DRS?
But yeah, Betrayer has got DRS, which will help him and probably save him from Mr. Grumpy, but I don't know if Slipstream will still be in effect. So yeah, Mr. Grumpy will have to overtake Betrayer because he doesn't want to get Josh to get away. As Josh picks up his first penalty.
That could be the difference, because I don't think Aaron is going to get one. That's a big cushion to lose.
It is indeed. No. But yeah, Josh is closing the gap to the top two, so a big shame for him. But look, a Game Freak and Deja Vu. Game Freak on softs and Deja Vu on softs, closing Betrayer and Grumpy. Betrayer struggling, I think, a little bit on these tyres now, but he needs to extend the stint by a good few more laps if he is to get to the end on medium tyres.
Yeah, I've completely forgot about Game Freaker. Game Freaker has closed into this group massively, but it would be better if he was on the medium, but he still could pit and then do a few astounding laps on the mediums and maybe get the undercut and get track position. As Gizmo picks up the 3-second penalty.
Yeah, so a penalty for Simo there, but yeah, Betrayer definitely struggling on these soft tyres now, but if he's got DRS he might be able to defend, but Grumpy's only 2 tenths behind into the DRS range, into the DRS zone rather, so can Mr. Grumpy make the move on his fellow experienced driver Betrayer? I don't think he's going to be close enough and tries a banzai, but nah, he certainly doesn't. He wasn't just close enough.
I think Grumpy will be saying a few choice words about, gave you a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, as I was saying, Grumpy with a few choice words for Gazaman there. I think that was a perfect example of what can happen if someone leaves.
Yeah, so it's certainly going to affect this race and impact the likes of Josh, the likes of Grumpy at the end of the race will be on those soft tyres, but Grumpy looks miles faster than Betrayer as we run down to this tricky corner.
Oh, squeezed.
Yeah, so a little squeeze from Betrayer, but I think just within the rules, but Game Freaker might try and move down the inside, locks up slightly, but nah, he just doesn't make the move. And a right
Josh
decision.
is pulling in Blue Mosquito, but the gap has remained the same to Aaron, if not Aaron has extended it. Not making the most of the mediums right now is Josh.
Nope, but I mean he'll keep on closing in, but I think Grumpy first Betrayer will be on top, but Game Freaker Game Freaker still looks quite quick on those soft tyres compared to Betrayer, but there's still a bit of life left in them.
Sab in the chat says, "Got it, I didn't get home in time for this."
Sorry to hear, Sab. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Yep, certainly. I think Betrayer is in. Betrayer is in the pits, so he makes his one and only pit stop. I mean, lap 13 is quite early, so I'm quite a little bit surprised there. And it's super softs for Betrayer. Super softs. What do you make of that, John?
Well, I think that's a bad call there. Unless there's some weather coming in the future that we don't know about, but apparently it was still dry, and I don't know. I personally wouldn't have went for that, but I hope he comes back to bite me. Betrayer! I think he's lost a bit of wing coming out of the pits.
I can't tell on the screen, but
He hit both barriers, but it looks intact, and that's very fortunate there for Betrayer.
certainly. But Game Freaker 4 tenths per second behind Mr. Grumpy, 4 P4. Obviously, I think Game Freaker will extend the stint by a few laps. I think lap 13 is a little bit early for medium tyres. You're going to be maybe lap 16, lap 17. Have a comfortable medium stint.
I think it's Josh Roberts' time. He's got it down to 4.2 to Aaron, and just under a second of Blue Mosquito. That's the closest we've seen it so far.
Yeah, so the medium's coming alive for Josh, but Game Freaker is also coming alive in terms of attacking Mr. Grumpy, 4P4. So Game Freaker, can he line Mr. Grumpy up out of the centre S's? Obviously, the DRS will be enabled, but the lack of slipstream perhaps, but Game Freaker not using the DRS on my screen, so...
Yeah, I was just thinking that the same, and is that tactical that he knows that he'll lose time battling, or that he's going to come in this lap maybe? Is that the sign we needed to see him come into the box this lap?
Yeah, potentially, so I'd be interested to see why Game Freaker did that, but yeah, a good theory from Joel there, but in terms of the front, it's still a second, but yeah, Josh has got it down to 3.1 seconds. Grumpy's a further 3 seconds behind as BWA Clyde pits as Miles is out of the race. So, I mean, Miles, he's been all over the place today, and a sad end to his race goal.
Could be intentional there, looking at that position, but it also could be a tank slapper. We just don't know. But I hope it wasn't intentional, because there's always worth staying in. You never know what could happen. But
yeah, sorry to interrupt, but Blue Mosquito's in. Blue Mosquito pits.
Oh,
he's going for the undercut.
Has to be mediums. Has to be mediums.
This is a crucial stage of the race. We're going to ride on board just to see where he comes out. But Aaron may respond and make a run. Obviously, the slipstream still might not be in effect. Another penalty. So 6 seconds for Josh. But yeah, this is a crucial time. It's hammer time for Aaron, because if Aaron might be undercut and lose track position to Blue Mosquito here. So a crucial part of the race here.
You've got any fuel, use it now, is what the engineers at Cyber will be saying to Aaron.
Yeah, it's how tight you make. I mean, standard in the middle sector makes sense with these tricky traction zones and warm tyres. But will Aaron respond? You know, it's going to be likely he's going to be undercut. If he does pit, you know, he will get a bit of clear air. But you know, will he be behind Blue Mosquito? That is the question. So will Aaron respond? You know, leading the race by just a second, it always means, you know, you're under threat to an undercut opportunity. And Blue Mosquito decided, you know what? Let's just go for it because the mediums will get to the end. He wants track position.
We know Aaron quite well, and Aaron's always been a man about track position, so I would expect him to come in here, but maybe not. We'll see. Believes he's still got the pace, stays out.
So Aaron wants fresh medium tyres at the end of the race. I mean, he'll have fresh, clear air when he does pit. There'll be no traffic. So interesting decision from Aaron there. But Josh has got the gap down to 3.9 seconds. So Josh coming alive on those medium tyres. Turns up the back of Dougie Dude, 4/10 off Hulkenberger.
Not bad turnaround from Dougie Dude there, but I think these guys they'll drop behind the likes of Betrayer and Game Freakers, so tail end of the points, but still very respectable.
Yep, so obviously, you know, the wet quality in the dry race has certainly put strategy right at the top of our agenda, as we'd expect around Brazil. Obviously, one stop or two stop strategy being the preferred choice. But yeah, interestingly, Betrayer is now 4 seconds behind Blue Mosquito. Obviously, Betrayer went for the super softs. If Aaron pits, he wants to be ahead of Betrayer. You know, if he comes out, you know, behind him, if he stays out a couple of 2 more laps, you know, it could just cost him a chance of the victory. So Aaron surely will have to pit soon.
I'm going to keep an eye on the sector times here. What's Aaron going to do through the middle of 37.7, so we'll see what Blue Mosquito does when he crosses the sector timing line.
The Sauber mechanics are out. Frederick Vasseur has called him in as Aaron pits from the lead of the race. This is a crucial stage. Will he come out ahead of Blue Mosquito as he trails down the pit lane? Pit limiter on. The Sauber pit mechanics are there. Joel, you know these mechanics well. Can they get the stop done in time?
I've just seen Blue Mosquito's middle sector, and I do not exaggerate when I say 9/10 was gained in the middle sector alone.
So we'll go on board with Blue Mosquito. Blue Mosquito side by side. Aaron obviously taking the slower line. And Blue Mosquito is well clear. Miles clear. A costly error maybe from Aaron. And where will Jim Betrayer come out in all this? Aaron comes out ahead of Betrayer. So luckily for Aaron, he is ahead, but Aaron will have 2 lap fresher tyres.
Won it in the pits last round. Potentially lost it in the pits this round.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays. But yeah, Dougie Do starting to apply pressure to Hulkenberg for the final podium place. Obviously, the top 4 yet to stop, and they'll be going to soft tyres most likely. They could go super softs, I guess, if they extend it long enough, but I think softs makes the most sense as Tej pits from 11th and will stay 11th on a set of mediums ahead of Clyde and Gizmo.
Dougie Do putting pressure on Hulkenberger, so obviously the chat around his pace in the dry was true, because although he had a rocky start, he looks to have settled into his groove now, and he's putting some pressure on Hulkenberger.
Yeah, Hulkenberger, you know, he's an experienced customer, he knows how to defend, so it's going to be hard for Dougie, I think. I don't think Hulkenberger will give it easy, but will Dougie try and move down the inside? No. It's always it's a very tight, tricky corner as the centre rest section, but I think turn 3 is the corner you want to be doing the overtaking around here.
Dougie Dude kept it in 4th the whole way through turn 1 and turn 2. Didn't even drop for the turn and kept it in 4th. Nice way to get the traction down, and it's proved dividend here down the inside of Hulkenberger. Very nice move.
Yeah, beautifully. I think Dougie, you know, he's shown some outstanding drive pace, and you know he just needs to get his head down and continue to close the gap to the likes of Grumpy and Josh. But yeah, a nice move from Dougie there.
Blue Mosquito 2 seconds to Aaron. I think that says everything we need to know about the undercut.
Certainly, and it'd be interesting, you know, the gap stayed 1 second for the whole first stint between those two. So will Aaron even be able to close the gap by the end of the race? You know, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah. And if he does, it'll be right at the end. Could be poised, strap in, get some popcorn, because Aaron F1's on a mission.
Yeah, I think penalties hopefully won't be a factor. I think that's a Aaron on blue. 2 drivers probably won't be getting penalties this race, so hopefully, you know, we can have a battle on track for the win. So.
And what does boy with no face have to do? Basically, a man like yourself has led many a race and tried to manage his sectors, but he's got a few more laps to go, and the objective's very clear in his head to keep consistent. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, certainly. You know, you just obviously at this stage of the race, it's hard to get to 50 to 60%. You just got to make sure your traction and braking zones remain consistent. On this, I think on this game more so than any other game, tyre temperature is key. If you keep overheating the tyres, you slide more and get more tyre wear. And I think the case with Josh, you've got 2 penalties already. You probably can't win today, but you certainly can win on track. So I think that should be the aim for him, and obviously getting no more penalties to secure maybe a 3rd or a 4th place. But Mr. Grumpy is still within range in terms of penalties. But I think Josh can still look good for that P3.
I think in terms of penalties, Grumpy's within, he's technically 6/10ths behind Josh, so that gap's going to be very important at the end.
Definitely, and interestingly, Aaron's closed the gap by 6/10 of a second as Josh is in. Josh is in from P1. Will he get a stop road penalty into the pits? Beautifully done by Josh there. On it, stops in time and will hit for a set of soft compound tyres.
Quite a long stint for the sauce, I must have 16 laps, so I suppose they're fresh, so...
Yeah, and lower fuel tends to help things. But I mean, I'm looking for. Game Freak has opted for a set of super softs. So
much like we've seen with Betrayer. Good for track position initially, but in the long term, I can't see that working out.
I can't either, but we'll see how that plays out. But an interesting strategy from Game Freak there. Aaron obviously got the gap down to 1.3 seconds. His Hulk is 6/10 behind Dougie, so Dougie's not being able to break that DRS. Right, that 1 second window just yet.
I think what Aaron will be hoping for is that Blue Mosquito catches up with the top 3, or even just Hulkenberger soon, because that will slow him down. But I could expect these 3 in within the next 2 laps.
Yeah, so it's a crucial stage for these medium runners. Josh obviously going for a longer soon, so Josh will be better get the undercut now, but obviously towards the end of the race he'll be slower than the likes of Grumpy. As Gaming Alley Wonder kindly points out, Blue Mosquito might get trapped behind Hulkenberger, but Hulkenberger has decided to pit, so good news for Blue Mosquito. So thanks to Mark for pointing that out. I didn't quite see Blue Mosquito catch that quickly. But obviously, Blue...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these guys made the pit stop, but they've already made the pit stop back up. So I think the soft-medium strategy certainly worked beautifully for these guys.
See what the gap is. Yeah, Blue Mosquito. Dougie Dude will likely pit at the end of this lap, but if he caught him a lap or 2 earlier, we could see a titanic battle between the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, you can still get held up in this final part of the middle sector if Dougie has a few problems. There's obviously Blue on these fresh medium tyres, Dougie obviously on those 21 lap old tyres as well. So Aaron 1.4 behind. Aaron will be hoping Dougie either stays out or just has a few issues in the final part of this lap. But luckily he's not too close. His Clyde gets a 3-second time penalty.
What we also must mention is we're seeing Blue here. Oh,
he ran a little bit wide there, but I don't think there's too many.
Puncture for Dougie Dude in my screen.
Oh, did Blue hit him? Oh,
Yep.
puncture for Dougie Dude. Big problems.
Lucky it's at the end of the lap. Well, is it really a puncture because he's going that speed? But yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Heartbreak for Dougie Dude there. So it's worked out for Aaron, I think. He's managed to close the gap as Boy with No Face sets the fastest lap of the race.
As I was just about to say, what we must notice is Josh was released in clean air, and all the time they were losing behind the leaders. Well, the leaders at the time. Josh was making up all that time.
Yeah, a good point there, and good evening to Lickle Blocks, the F2 commentator. So I'm not sure if he's commentating or is finished early, but certainly an interesting final part to this race between Blue Mosquito and Aaron, and whether Josh can use those soft tyres to get in the mix. With Game Freak and Betrayer obviously got to pit again.
Definitely. I mean, Josh will be when they get out of the way fairly quickly, but I reckon they'll stay for another set of super softs, most likely, I would have thought.
Yeah, definitely. So they'll be very fast towards the end, but when they pit, they're going to come out behind Dougie Dude. So, you know, they're
the man you don't want to be behind, as his teammate found out.
Certainly. Aaron 7 cents behind with Game Freak obviously closing the gap on the super softs, but is still got to pit once more.
Eyes on Josh here. I expect a move done.
Oh,
Betrayer! Oh.
Nearly carnage for these two drivers. But can Josh make the move down around the outside into the centre resters? I think it's an easy move. Respect from Betrayer after they nearly collided.
Yeah, definitely. He was attached to his gearbox on my screen. I don't think he's got any damage, but possibly has.
Yeah, so a close one there. So Josh is now 4.9 seconds off the lead of the race. It's a shame about those penalties, because I think he could be a factor, especially if these two start battling as well. Blue in it.
And Aaron, look at him now, 6/10. Oh, Blue looks a bit out of shape here.
Yeah, he was struggling a little bit in the final sector when we were on board with him a couple of laps ago. So I think Aaron, he loves these harder tyres. Like, he's always been, throughout the years, he's been an expert on these harder tyres. So it's no surprise seeing him set some, fantastic laps. But look at him; he just looks so assured. His traction, his turning, just looks perfect at the moment.
Let's see, is he close enough? A slipstream glitch? I don't think so, but who knows? Closing. Nah, this just has a little look and says, Blue Mosquito, I'm here.
Yep, so all Blue runs a little bit wide. That has to be a warning. So Aaron applying the pressure as Betrayer makes his final pit stop for a set of super softs. As Josh is now behind Game Freaker goes defensive into turn 3. Can Josh make the move around the outside? Moves late. Game Freaker locks up.
If you want this move, you're gonna have to go the long way round. And Josh Roberts says, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, that's sensational stuff from Boy Fakes. A beautiful manoeuvre as Aaron is right behind Blue Mosquito. 0.3 of a second between the top two. The former champions of the top tier in PSGL. Both have won titles, many titles, been around for many years. Household names of the PSGL site. So it's great to see these two battling for the win here in Brazil.
Definitely. I think Blue's just regained himself here. I think he had a sketchy few laps, but I think he's getting back into the groove and realising that if he wants this win, that he's going to have to keep the gap because Aaron's got the tyre advantage.
Certainly, so if Josh continues to close the gap, it'll be interesting to see if we get a three-way fight. But yeah, Aaron versus Blue Mosquito will be for the lead of the race. Looking further down, I don't think we've got too many battles just yet. Maybe, I think Betrayer will be coming through the field as well as Game Freaker when they pit from the set of super softs. But it's good that the battle is between the top two and whether Josh can close the gap down. But Aaron pulling to the side to cool the car down, but just can't get close enough.
3.2 is the gap for Josh to Blue Mosquito. 3.1 now. Yeah, Josh maybe isn't out of this yet. I mean, on track potentially, but I can't see the top two getting even one penalty at this rate. Maybe Blue Mosquito, as we've seen him run wide a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, so Aaron applying the pressure, but Josh has got the gap down to 2.8 seconds. So yeah, Josh flying on those softs as expected, but he's got 6 seconds of penalties compared to the top two with no penalties apiece. But I think Blue certainly looks more ragged than Aaron at the moment. Aaron looks more assured and more experienced at this stage of the race.
Blue Mosquito 2 warnings, Aaron 1. Whereas Josh is, yeah, I think he's not far off another one.
Game Freaker's in. Game Freaker's in for another set of super soft tyres. But Aaron had a really bad first part of the lap. He's down to 0.8 of a second. 0.9. Don't know what happened to Aaron there.
This will give Josh Roberts all the motivation he needs.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron doesn't want to be back. Josh could cost Aaron a chance of winning the race, certainly. If Josh gets the next and starts battling Aaron, and Aaron loses DRS to Blue Mosquito. Obviously, Blue Mosquito has the worst tyres out of the top two, with obviously Josh on the softs. But he did pick quite early, so I think Josh will be quite tight at the end.
Yeah, Josh just needs 0.3 and then he's right in that, well, non-existent slipstream, but has the RS to make up for it.
Yeah, so Tej is in the pits once more, but Game Freaker is 0.5 behind. Betrayer 5 seconds behind Dougie. So those two are super softs, but they've got a big gap to make up.
Interesting how early Betrayer pitted compared to Game Freaker, but yeah, Game Freaker's only 0.3 behind, so maybe Betrayer had some contact, but just simply couldn't get the foot down.
Yeah, maybe. So we saw Betrayer have a few bit of bangs of the wall, so I'm not sure if there's damage, but Game Freaker certainly looks miles faster than Betrayer. So Game Freaker runs slightly wide, but so it's slightly compromised exit from Game Freaker. We're on board these. I think Aaron and Blue Mosquito aren't close enough to keep an eye on them, but it's 0.4 between those, 0.3 between those two guys. So I'm just gonna do I need to quickly look? I don't think so, but yeah, Dave Raffle gets a penalty.
Game Freaker's going to do it, maybe no. Okay, he's going to set him up. Betrayers went defensive, going to compromise him maybe. Can Game Freaker exploit this? Oh, matched each other quite well. Oh, another onslaught from Game Freaker. Not even a. Back up to the leaders, I'll have a quick look.
Yeah, I think it's now. They're all within a second of each other, so they all will have DRS. Josh will have DRS, and Aaron will have DRS on Blue Mosquito, but Aaron knows this is the time he needs to get close and apply the pressure. As Stephen in the chat says, for the sake of the season, I hope Blue wins this one and not Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron back to back. Obviously, he made the tactical change. He wasn't relegated in a word, but he made the tactical change to move to F4 as he thought the racing was much better. And to be honest, I think this race is a perfect example of why he's moved here, because it's much more enjoyable to watch, never mind take part.
Yeah, Aaron's sector ones are shocking at the moment. Josh has got a great exit and he's got great straight out speed. Aaron might have to go defensive if Josh sends it up the inside, but no, Josh is not close enough. But Aaron's sector ones are pretty dreadful at the moment. He just looks all out of shape. He looks more suited to that sector 2, the more downforce. For some reason, I don't know why, but he certainly looks more suited to the middle sector at the moment.
A bit more wing maybe for Aaron F1. Not something he's used to. Definitely Aaron's always been a man to take the much off the front wing as he possibly could. But this middle sector, he looks rapid.
Oh, Blue a little bit wide there, but a bit lag. But as Game Gallon Wonder points out, I'm surprised Blue doesn't have a penalty. You know, we've seen him run wide so many times this race. So I think very fortunate.
Yeah. Warnings.
So 1 foot on will surely throw this race away for him. But I mean, look at the gap, 10 seconds to Mr. Grumpy. So I think Josh's pace in this second seems to be absolutely outstanding. Hitting early and some outstanding laps. But Josh looks closer than Aaron looks to be Mosquito.
And Josh, as we've noted earlier in the race, he's got that straight line speed that Aaron seems to lack.
Certainly. So Josh looks mighty in that sector one. The soft tyres still giving grip. Aaron just ahead, but Anna's got. I mean, if Aaron didn't have DRS, I think Josh would be applying a lot more pressure, but isn't quite close enough. That's Blue Mosquito has a little bit of a moment.
Oh, yeah, but out of shape. Josh will also be eager to atone for what happened last round, obviously losing the race through the pits. He'll definitely be wanting to get his season back on track, so could we see him maybe pass the front two on track and then pull a gap? Maybe to Blue Mosquito, but I can't see him getting 6 seconds on Aaron.
No, as he does a bit of a dummy there to scare Aaron, but Aaron, of all people, isn't going to be scared. As Blue Mosquito has a major moment there. Blue Mosquito is struggling for grip. Obviously, Aaron got fresher tyres as well, so we could see a titanic fight between these three drivers. But Josh just looks a little bit better at this stage of getting those traction in the crucial areas. Aaron just can't get close enough where it matters.
8 people watching this, and we've got 7 laps.
As Aaron's got DRS, can he make a move? Blue Mosquito is defensive into the centre. As Aaron tries to make the move around the outside, but Blue obviously defends it comfortably. But this is where it matters. Can he set him up? Aaron's just line is dreadful. He just has a kick over stall once again. So Josh will be looking to make the move down to 7-3. But no, not close enough. Surely not.
Aaron's DRS saving him here. But Josh Roberts having a look anyway. Oh, new contact.
A little bit naive, I thought, from Josh, but I mean, if you see a gap, you might as well go for it.
Surely not around the outside. Aaron will close the door. Yeah, impossible, really. So close.
If Blue Mosquito can beat the DRS, the gap's down to 9/10. So Josh is helping Blue Mosquito a treat here. There were some suggestions that they may work together, but certainly not. Josh is fighting for himself. Who needs technical deals?
Raver's revenge, fastest lap.
But Aaron's like traction and lines out the final corner in the centre S's just aren't good enough at the moment.
It seems to be that is when he puts his foot down in the second part of it, he doesn't have the grip. It's maybe too much ballast. It just seems to send him out to look quite wide on the exit of it. A good view from Josh's car here as Aaron goes quite deep, pulls it back, tries to get himself a straight run. Yeah, he was definitely struggling, I think, there, but it was better than last time.
Yeah, Josh certainly looks better where it matters, but I think Aaron, I mean, out of the three of them, I think Blue Mosquito is certainly the one struggling more. Aaron's been able to close the gap up quite quickly, but Josh got the straight line speed, but he's also got the cornering speed. He certainly looks very confident in the corners, as Dougie Dude and Hulkenberger have swapped positions, I think, so, or they're battling for positions. So Dougie Dude up to P6.
Down the inside, Holdenberger again, maybe. Yep, big. Ooh, dude, round the outside. Yeah, nicely done. Impressive stuff from dude here. Not as consistent as what maybe he needs to be right now, but definitely promising signs.
Yep, certainly. So a good recovery. But look, a Game Freak. A Game Freak will be fighting, but we need to go on board with the top two. There's battles all going on. Josh is right behind again, but has a bit of a poor exit. Good entry, but a poor exit.
No one's really close enough here. I don't think it'll be a matter of trying to set the other one up. But Josh Roberts, yeah. I want to know what he's at for breakfast, because that car keeps pulling and pulling and pulling.
If you're in, oh, there's a Torosso off. I don't know who that is. Tej maybe. I think it might be Tej. But we'll keep it on board with the Iran. I think Iran had a good exit there, but I don't think it's a Josh Roberts exit. You can't get close enough again. So I'm going to go on board with Game Freaker, I think. Quickly, Game Freaker.
Yep. On the inside.
Of his teammate. Yeah, easily done. I think Dougie Dude will be immense, mate. He'll be easy to pass. I'm going to go on board with Josh. Josh looks close. Josh could send it here. Iran covers the middle line, as you should. But Blue does look a little bit all over the place as Game Freaker gets the move done. I didn't catch that because these drivers are separated by 0.7 of a second. We've got to stick on board with these three. As Gordo is left, but someone's already left, so about time, mate. As Iran, as Dougie, oh, there's all sorts going on. Hulkenberger, Dougie Dude, and Betrayal all changing. I can't, because Iran is only 0.3 behind, with Josh a further 0.3 behind. Can Iran make the move with Boy with No Face in P3? Could we see some carnage between these three veterans?
Iran's keen. I can see a move coming here. He shows him in. Oh, Iran, a bit of Bottas tendency there. I think It's over.
Iran's been hit. Iran's got front wing damage. Iran's got damage. It's over for Iran. So Iran
up in flames. Peter Cyber smacking his bald head, asking questions. What was the Ferrari doing? Cancelling the partnership. Because what on earth was the Ferrari doing?
Indeed, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll have to review that on the stream. But that's Iran's chances of the win over, as it stands.
And is Grumpy now? Is he going to look for that podium? I know he's got pens and stuff, but how bad is that damage?
Yeah. So I mean, that could have easily been a destroyed vehicle for Iran. You know, if you hit it at the wrong angle. But look, Iran didn't look to come off too badly there. A little bit of damage, but I think Josh will be hoping to take the win on track. It won't be the win due to penalties, but he'll be hoping to win on track. I think with his straight line speed, it could be quite an easy manoeuvre.
Blue Mosquito still on 2 warnings, so if he gets another one, that's 3 seconds, which means Josh will need a 3-second gap. And if he gets this move done, he's only got 3 laps to do it. Oh, that's a lovely move if he keeps this. He'll be under attack here, no doubt, but that was a lovely first corner.
Yeah, Josh is looking mighty in this first sector. As Blue Mosquito's got the RS wide open, we'll try to go around the outside of turn 3. Josh, bit of a dodgy line, but I think the traction is still there in his car and maintains the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. So Josh now leads, but has 2 penalties compared to Blue Mosquito's 0. So bit of a shame for Josh there. You know, he's driven really well, but penalties will come back to bite.
Trying to see what Aaron's delta times are, but Aaron's pulling, like, closing in on Blue Mosquito, so maybe the damage isn't as bad as we think.
Maybe not, maybe not, but yeah, Josh will just be hoping to pull the gap and, you know, win on track. You know, penalties will certainly take away from him, but it's been a fine drive.
He's got damage in the front left end plate, and it's definitely costing him in the left-handers because he's just lost 4 tenths in the 2 left-handers there at the penultimate corners. Josh Roberts is going to have the foot flat to the mat here, praying that Blue Mosquito gets a pen.
He will indeed. And I mean, Betrayer's now beginning to pressurise Hulkenberger for P8. So that'll be one to watch. In terms of any other battles, I think that's the only one.
Yeah, not too much going on apart from the lead, but is it really a battle for the lead? Because we kind of know who's going to win it at this point.
Yeah, so only 9 tenths. I mean, Josh needs a couple more seconds to have any chance. I think he's got 2 penalties compared to Blue Mosquito's 1.
good point to note here is, as it stands, Boy with No Face is coming third.
Yeah, so I think it's been a great recovery from Josh, but I mean the penalties unnecessarily in the end. As we are on the penultimate lap, about to start the final lap, so it's been a really exciting race. Lots of fair battles, some great overtaking, and lots of good action after the opening lap carnage.
Thoroughly enjoyed this race so far, and we've got one more lap to treat us, with the gap being 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, so
Blue Mosquito.
yellow flags in sector 2. I'm not sure who that is, but there's someone who's got problems, and it's Tej. Tej has had problems, but forget about Tej. Josh has got the gap up down nearly to 2 seconds, so Josh.
Blue Mosquito up. Oh.
It's an outstanding drive from Josh, to be fair, but I think Blue Mosquito. There's a puncture on my screen for Blue Mosquito.
Where's that puncture? Surely not. Surely not.
He's got a puncture.
He's lost it.
Problems for Blue Mosquito. This is going to hand Josh surely the win. Or Aaron, depending on the gap. I don't know the gaps.
Aaron's going to win this. It's 5.1 if Josh gets 9/10. Josh is going to win this. Josh is going to win this. Blue's wide.
So puncture for Blue Mosquito is 5.6 seconds, 5.8.
5.7. And this is a bad corner for his wing. What's this going to be? 5.7.
5.8.
5.8.
But Boy with No Face has got the arrest, so Boy with No Face wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. But what can Aaron do? Can Aaron get the win? He's got a rich fuel mix.
Get to the left, Aaron, get to the left.
Aaron wins! Look at the gap! Aaron wins in Brazil.
Unbelievable. Josh Roberts robbed again. 2 rounds in a row. How will he come back from this?
What an ending. But Aaron, what a drive from Aaron and Josh there. Drama. Blue does get third despite the punch shot. Grumpy in 4, Dave and Game Figure 5 and 6. With Dougie Doo, Hulk, Betrayal and Rose of Range in the top 10. Clyde, Simo and Tej, the non-point scorers. So what an ending. It looked for so long that Blue Mosquito would win. Aaron looked to be a threat until the crash with Josh, but then the late puncture meant that Josh had a chance. But yeah, what an ending.
A very impressive 5th place from Dave Chavu, must be said.
Yeah, under the radar. Yeah, we don't know too much about him, but I think a great. I think Deja Vu, one of the star performances today. I think you've got to say, Josh's recovery certainly deserves a good mention there.
I think Josh will be unlucky in a sense not to have won this, but I think you've got to commend Aaron and not losing that amount of time after the damage to stay within the hunt.
Yeah, so it's back-to-back wins for Aaron, on to 32 points. Josh, obviously, back-to-back second place is on to 24 points, so it looks to be an early title fight between Aaron and Boy with No Face. So yeah, the top 3 here, Aaron, Boy with No Face, and Blue Mosquito.
Dave Chavu says hands shaking after that, tyres on 89%. So one of our star performers, we pointed out, nearly ended up in the same boat as Blue Mosquito. Take a minute to drink this in. Aaron, Josh and Blue Mosquito, an experienced podium if ever I've seen one. But look at the fastest lap, Big C. 8/10 quicker as Josh Roberts compared to his fellow podium sitters. Incredible pace there from Josh.
Yep, so as Haig says, 2 races in a row, Josh and Aaron too fast for a 4? Question mark. So interesting.
Well, fault to the likes of you to say something like that, because he's shown today that he's there for the fight as well. And to be honest, he probably should have won it.
Definitely. I think Blue drove beautifully today, but unfortunately he was pitted, I think, a little bit too early. I think Aaron staying out those extra laps, mad. Like, we questioned it at the time, but I think Aaron showed why he knows best there. So, a good call.
Never argue with a 3-time F1 champion.
Agreed. So, I'll quickly invite them.
to join?
I think it's fair we wait for the others, but yeah, I don't know how to feel. It's a mixed bag because obviously if you want to win a race, you want to win it crossing the finish line first. But yeah, I mean there are a few incidents. Question I don't know whether you call those
Initial
on
thoughts there.
camera.
Yeah, hello, congratulations, Josh, on P2. We'll just wait for Blue Mosquito.
Thanks.
I don't know if he talks on the mic, but
Yeah, he does.
so I've invited him, so we'll just wait for him. But yeah, an enthralling end, you know, very dramatic with the punctures. I've already invited him. We don't need anyone else, so we'll speak to you three guys on an exciting race. But yeah, I mean, Joel, who's your driver today, Joel? You know, there was a lot of good drivers out there, like sort of Josh, Blue Mosquito, but who do you think your driver today is?
I mean, I did mention at the end of the stream that I thought Dave Javu drove excellently to bring it home in P5, avoiding a puncture. But, you know, hats off to the likes of Josh and Aaron and even Blue Mosquito, who might feel robbed at this point.
Indeed. So we'll start with the top three for the Brazilian Grand Prix and winning back-to-back races. You know, it's been many years since he's done it, but Aaron, a dramatic end. We questioned why he stayed out a couple of laps longer than Blue Mosquito, but I think, you know, it proved crucial in terms of winning today's race. But yeah, sum up your emotions, and you know, how was the race for you? You know, it looked so close with Blue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the win. Me and Blue were really close to each other during the opening stint. I think we were just keeping tabs with each other. But he went for the undercut, which you know, fair enough to him. I think he probably had more confidence in making his tyres last. But I just had a gut feeling that if I pitted too early, I'd be fighting fire towards the end, trying to avoid a puncture. And I think the decision was probably crucial. I mean, ideally I would have liked to have made a move on Blue there, but he was just holding up really well. So kudos to him. I actually thought he probably deserved to win the race. But unfortunately, I had a collision. I don't know whether you caught it on camera. I don't think it was my fault. But I guess it's just one of those things, and I'm not going to mind too much.
Yeah, it looked a bit. We didn't really know what happened. It looked very strange, but luckily he didn't get DNF or anything too severe. So yeah, I think we'll come back to him at the end. But yeah, Josh, you know, it looked, you know, it was a dreadful qualifying performance, but I mean the race, some of your lines, especially I love what you were doing in the first sector. Your lines, your straight line speed, the car just looked beautiful out there. You know, how was it?
It was a very strange setup, which I think explains the quality position, because I had low wings, obviously you could probably tell, and yeah, I made a couple last minute adjustments, but I think in the race, you know, it felt perfect. I was in a proper rhythm, and I'm really happy with how I did. I mean, I made some amazing moves around the outside of Game Freak, around the outside of Blue, and also I've got the Aaron collision on footage, and I didn't actually touch him on my screen, so I've got that all saved already. So just I don't know what happened. It's an instant, but either way he won, and he probably deserved to get a nice controlled race. But I'm really proud of how I got second, because I had lots of tussles at the start of midfield, so it was a good race.
And what about the end? Obviously, you know, on stream it was quite dramatic with Blue's puncture. Did you think you were going to win, or what was the emotions crossing the line?
I don't know. I mean, obviously there was the incident, which looking back is a non-incident, but at the time, you know, things go through your head. And Blue, we weren't sure how far back he was, and I didn't know how many penalties Aaron or Blue had, so I wasn't really sure. And I mean, Aaron got about half a tenth, so it's very close.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So, yeah, thank you. And obviously moving on to the reigning F4 champion, you know, Blue Mosquito. You know, it looked like for so long you were going to win, especially after Aaron's collision. You know, fair play, your pace throughout the race was outstanding. But, you know, did you make a mistake pitting a little bit too early? I know in hindsight it's easy to say, but, you know, how was the race, and, you know, how do you reflect on your strategy decision?
Yeah, I don't think it was a mistake. I mean, I remember from last season I pitted on lap 15 and made it to the end. And I wanted to undercut Aaron there, so I went for lap 14. And that worked really well. I came out a couple of seconds ahead, and sort of just about able to keep him at a DRS range for a while. But yeah, it's just disappointing in the end. You're halfway down the last lap and get a puncture. Not much you can do about it. So.
obviously, you are the reigning champion. You've seen the likes of, Ian and Josh, Game Freakage on the league. These are drivers. A couple of seasons ago were in F1, finishing on the podium. So, do you welcome this competition, or do you think they shouldn't be in the league? How do you approach racing these drivers?
Yeah, they're very welcome. I think it's you speak to the other guys in F4. A lot of them will say that I'm probably not the fastest out there. So to be battling with these guys in the Brazil track, I think it shows that we're all fairly well matched. So it's looking good for a good season. It's just a shame that the points have all gone to one man so far.
Indeed. And Joel, do you have any questions for these guys?
Yeah, I'll start with Aaron. Obviously, congratulations first of all to my ex-teammate. It's always a good day to see you do well. Just your thoughts on the incident, really, because we didn't really pick it up, but we've seen that.
Yeah.
From what I thought Josh was on the inside and maybe caught you back left and put you towards the barrier.
Yeah, I mean that's how I saw it, but I mean at the end of the day, there's no point quibbling over that particular incident. But I'd like to apologise if I made contact with Blue in the towards the end there.
I don't think it made any difference because
yeah.
Well, you and Josh would have been in front anyway, and I got third, so I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'd like to apologise for that because I know it's a very tight corner. But no, I think the Josh collision's come and gone, but I think me finishing ahead of him probably sorts that one out for itself.
That's just desserts for Josh Robertson. That's who I'm moving to next. Josh, we were keeping a close eye on you throughout the race, especially in the first stint, because we were noticing that I said at one point you'd be licking your lips at the action ahead of you because you were sitting pretty in those mediums as the others squabbled. Was this along your thoughts during the race, and did you always think that you were going to catch up at the end on the softs?
Well, yeah, once, because the first 2-3 laps I was tussling, I was right in the middle of it. So once I got clear of it, I saw that I was one of the highest medium runners, and I felt like I had better pace than I expected. And yeah, I kind of expected to catch, but I think I caught quicker than I expected.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I did. Did you catch the moves around the outside of the...
Yeah,
I'm sorry to blame my jump it, but...
I think we've seen one around the outside of Game Freaker that was nice.
Yeah, I've got the incident in the chat. On my screen we didn't actually make any contact, so it's just it's gone. He's won anyway, so yeah.
It's all
well
worked
done
out
for
in
him
the
winning.
end.
He deserved it, yeah.
Finally, just to Blue, I think what you said was brilliant, really, regarding about Aaron and Josh and Game Freaker joining. I think you showed today that anyone can win here, that it's a very well matched grid, and it doesn't matter what your previous history is, because arguably I think most would agree that Blue should have won today. And I just want to pose to Blue, is the Drivers' Championship in your objectives for this season?
Oh yeah, of course it is. To beat the likes of some former F1 contestants would be quite an achievement, I think.
There would be a monumental retaining of the championship, I think, if you were to pull this off this year, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I think that's a nice way to end. So yeah, congratulations to the top 3. I think in normal circumstances I'd interview a few more guys, but hopefully me and Joel, or I'll be back later on in the season, depending on availability and so on. So yeah, I think a great advert for PSGL as always. F4 continues to be the pinnacle league in terms of clean racing. So yeah, thanks to these guys, and hopefully it's Mark back next week. So yeah, thanks for watching and good night.